Keir Starmer didn't expect this. In the middle of Parliament, with cameras rolling, a Labour MP rose from the backbench, not to praise the party, but to issue a chilling warning. A rebellion from within. A moment that shattered the illusion of unity and exposed the growing crisis at the heart of Labour. If you think this election is already won, think again. Because what just happened could change everything. Keir Starmer thought he had the Labour Party under tight control. With his carefully crafted image of competence, discipline, and authority, he spent years reshaping Labour in his own vision, exiling the ghosts of Corbynism, cleansing the party of dissent, and projecting himself as the grown-up in the room compared to the chaotic Conservatives. But just when it looked like Starmer was about to coast into number 10, a voice rose from the backbench. Not from the Tories, not from the right-wing press, not from an opposition protester, but from inside his own camp. A warning so piercing, so unscripted, that it cut through the spin and shattered the illusion of unity. This wasn't a political attack. It was a rebellion. A shot across the bow, and it came from one of his own Labour MPs. The warning was clear. The public isn't buying it. The base isn't convinced. The silence on Gaza, the cold centrism, the policy U-turns, and the lifeless slogans are catching up with him. The Labour leader who prides himself on being unshakable was suddenly being told, by someone in red, that he might be heading straight for a moral and political cliff. The question now is whether Keir Starmer even hears it. Or worse, if he's deliberately ignoring it. It all started with the rising discontent bubbling beneath the surface. For months, Starmer had dismissed critics within his own party as fringe voices. The Gaza issue? He brushed it off as a matter of foreign policy nuance. The growing sense that Labour was becoming indistinguishable from the Conservatives on key issues like immigration, civil liberties, and foreign affairs. He claimed it was pragmatic leadership. But voters weren't convinced. And eventually, one M dared to say what many were thinking. Keir Starmer's Labour has become hollow. And if it doesn't recover its soul soon, it may lose more than just a few backbenchers. It may lose the future. The warning came during a fiery speech in Parliament that was impossible to ignore. Delivered with a clarity and passion that felt like a throwback to the days when Labour actually stood for something. The MP didn't name Starmer directly, but every line was a dagger aimed at his leadership. They condemned the party's silence on Palestine, its drift toward authoritarian immigration policies, and its failure to present a bold, hopeful alternative to the mess the Tories have created. The speech went viral. Social media lit up. Activists, journalists, and disillusioned voters alike shared the clip with a single message. Finally, someone said it. This wasn't just a routine act of dissent. It was a direct challenge to the narrative Starmer has been building, one that claims Labour is united, ready to govern, and morally coherent. But behind closed doors, insiders know the truth. Many Labour MPs are furious with the leadership. They see the party bleeding authenticity, bleeding trust, and bleeding voters. And they fear what's coming. Because they remember what happened in 2017. They remember the surge of hope. They remember that Labour can win hearts, not just headlines. And they also remember what it means when the party forgets who it's meant to fight for. What makes this rebellion even more dangerous for Starmer is the timing. The country is at a breaking point. The cost of living crisis has become a national trauma. Public services are collapsing. Young people are drowning in debt. Renters are facing record evictions, and millions feel utterly abandoned by politics. If there were ever a time for a truly visionary opposition, this is it. But instead, Labour under Starmer has offered cautious silence. No radical housing policy. No bold new economic model. No commitment to reversing the decades of damage caused by austerity. Just soft rhetoric and vague promises, designed to keep the front pages friendly and the donors comfortable. But now even Labour's own MPs are asking, at what cost? This is the problem with Starmerism. It is so obsessed with avoiding mistakes, it forgets to take risks. So focused on distancing itself from the past, it's become blind to the present. In its desperation to appear electable, it has made itself forgettable. And that is a fatal flaw, because the country doesn't need a lukewarm version of the Conservatives. It needs a government that will challenge the system, not just manage it. The warning from within Labour is a symptom of something deeper, a growing sense that Starmer's strategy is backfiring. Yes, he may be ahead in the polls, but so was Theresa May at one point. Polls do not capture passion. Polls do not measure turnout. Polls do not predict movements. If Labour doesn't inspire people, it will not mobilize them. And if it doesn't mobilize them, the so-called lead could evaporate overnight. And this is what the rebel MP understands. They understand that politics is more than optics, more than discipline, more than triangulation. It's about conviction, about telling the truth even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Their warning wasn't just about foreign policy or Gaza or a single decision. It was about the direction of the party, the moral void at its center. Thea sensed that Labour is drifting away from the people who built it, from the trade unionist, the immigrant, the single mother, the renter, and the student drowning in loans. The party that once claimed to speak for the many is now being run like a corporate PR firm. And the people are starting to notice. Keir Starmer can no longer pretend this is just noise from the sidelines. This is now a crisis of identity, a reckoning. And if he doesn't listen, if he doubles down on his cautious centrism, if he silences the voices crying out for justice inside his own ranks, then history will not be kind to him. Because history doesn't remember the politicians who played it safe. It remembers those who stood for something. The truth is, this warning wasn't just for Keir Starmer. It was for all of us. A warning that democracy not end with a bang, but with silence. That a party without a soul is just a machine. That leadership without moral courage is not leadership at all. It's management, bureaucracy, emptiness. But there's still time. Starmer can choose to listen. He can choose to step off the conveyor belt of political calculation and into the arena of real, risky, hopeful politics. He can remember that the Labour Party was not born in boardrooms, but in struggle, in protest, in sacrifice. Or he can ignore the warning and watch as the very movement that once lifted him turns away. Because in politics, silence is not strength. It's complicity. And when the next election comes, it won't be just the Tories that voters punish. It will be anyone who stood by quietly while injustice screamed from the headlines. The people will remember. And this time, they won't be fooled by slogans. They'll be listening for the truth, even if it comes from a lone voice on the backbench. If you believe voters deserve truth, not just political branding, then share this video. Don't let this warning get buried. Hit the like button so more people see it. Subscribe for bold political commentary that cuts through the noise. And let me know in the comments, is Keir Starmer losing the soul of the Labour Party?